Good morning, Year 6, and welcome to the first maths lesson of the week. We're going to continue our knowledge of pie charts today, but we're going to, instead of looking at one pie chart, be comparing two different pie charts. I'm going to share my screen with you now, but can you please make sure that you have a pencil, a piece of paper, and you're ready to continue the learning. Okay. On Friday, I set a secret little challenge to everyone during my video. During the video, towards the end, I set the challenge to people to draw a dog at the end of their maths work. I put this challenge into the video because I had a sneaking suspicion that some people were not watching the whole video before they attempted their work. The reason I thought that was because many of you weren't marking your work and some of you were struggling on the challenges. I go through the challenges and I go through how to solve them as well during the video. So even if you're feeling confident with the content, it's essential you're watching the video. Even if you feel confident with something, that doesn't necessarily mean you've got it correct. You need to make sure you're watching the video, as that is the main part of your learning for maths during this term. So please watch the video because you never know when there might be another secret challenge during the video. Let's get started on today's work. Another reason why you need to make sure you're watching the video. If you're not watching the video, you won't be seeing the arithmetic and reasoning questions. Please pause the video and try these 6 questions. I'm going to start going through the questions now, so please pause the video if you haven't already finished them. Right, for this question here, if you said 2,000, you fell in a trap again. 4 times 5 is 20. That's 10 times bigger, that's 100 times bigger. So in total, that needs to be 1,000 times bigger, 20,000. 4/5 of 60, or 4/5 times 60. You could have made that 60 over 1, multiplied out the top. 4 times 60 is 240, 5 times 1 is 5, and then divided them. 240 times by 5 will be equal to 48. A quicker way of doing that, though, would have been to say, I'm going to change times to of. 60 divided by 5 is equal to 12. 12 times 4 is equal to 48. That would have been quicker, so think about which method is most appropriate when you're solving those questions. Okay, the next question is a BIDMAS question. Make sure you're following the order of BIDMAS carefully. Are there any brackets? Yes, 5 add 2 is equal, 3 add 2 is equal to 5. Are there any indices? Yes, 3 squared, that's 3 times 3, is equal to 9. Division? No. Multiplication? Yes. 5 multiplied by 9 is equal to 45. 345 multiplied by 97. This is a long multiplication question and I need to make sure I'm being careful with my regrouping. 7 times 5 is equal to 35. 7 times 4 is 28. Add 3 is 31. 7 times 3 is 21. Add 3 is 24. I like to regroup in the next box over rather than at the top because otherwise I get confused when I'm multiplying my tens. Next up at my 0. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 4 is 36. Add 5 is 41. 9 times 3 is 27. Add 4 is 31. Finally, I'll add those up. 5, 5, 5, 3, 3. 33,555. The next question, I'm looking for 50% of 460. I could either find 10% and then times that by 5, or I could remember to myself that 50% is equal to 1/2. 1/2 of 460 is equal to 230. Also, at this point, I just realised I've made a mistake with my long multiplication. I would like to apologise. The answer to the long multiplication is 33,465. Sorry, I made an error with my regrouping. Even though I said I like to regroup at the side to avoid making any errors, I still managed to make an error. Sorry about that. The next question is 100 subtract 1.3. I need to make sure I'm lining up my decimal points. 100 at the moment doesn't have one, so I put it at the end. 100.0. 0 take away 3 is not possible. I'll regroup. These all become 9. Sorry, that's a 0. These all become 9, and that is 10. 10 take away 3 is equal to 7. 9 take away 1 is equal to 8, and 9 take away nothing is 98. Another way of solving that question would have been to partition it and do it mentally. 100 take away 1 is 99. Take away 0.3, that's 98.7. Please pause the video and have a go at these place value numbers. Just to help you out though with this number challenge here, it says the number in each square is the product of the numbers in the two squares, in the two circles on either side. The word product, please remember, is what happens when you times two numbers together. For example, the product of 2 and 3 is equal to 6. The product of 4 and 5 is equal to 20. Try these reasoning questions, please. Okay, so for the first question, it was a place value question, and you had to write down the value of the 5 in each of these numbers. So the value, not the place value column. So the 5 here is in the hundreds, that's 500. Here it's in the millions, so that's 5 million, 3 zeros. 500,000, 50,000, and 5,000. How many edges does a cylinder have? There's one edge at that end and another edge there. That's 2 edges. How many faces? Well, I've got the circular face on either side and then that large rectangular face around the outside. So that's 3 faces. A vertex is where in a 3D shape is where 3 or more sides meet. In a cylinder, there are in fact no vertices. Okay, I needed to think to myself, where can I find, where shall I start? I would look here for this one because I know 7 times what makes 42. 7 times 6. My next step then would be to look at this one. 6 times what makes 54. 6 times 9. Okay, 9 times what makes 108. That would be 12. So the final square is 7 times 12, which is 84. Write down all the prime numbers between 1 and 20. 1 is not a prime number. 2 is, 3 is, 5 is, 7, 11, 13 and 17. If you think I've missed any, let me know. Write down all the square numbers between 50 and 100. I know that 6 squared is 36, 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64, 9 squared is 81, and 10 squared is 100. But because 100 is not in between 50 and 100, I will not write down 100. Okay. In a moment, you're going to pause the video so that you can write the date and WALT and have a go at the do now. For your do now question, please pay attention to whether or not you're looking at the fraction or how many. This is a pie chart that shows the amount of children who got all of their maths work correct. And I've split that pie chart into children who watched the whole of the video, which is in blue, children who watched only half of the video and then did the work, and children who just went straight to doing the worksheet. Okay, so pause the video and try those do now questions. What fraction of children who didn't watch the video got all their work correct? I'm asked for a fraction here of who did not watch the video. Just went straight to worksheet means you didn't watch the video and that is there. I can see that 3/4 is blue. So grey and orange together makes up 1/4. Half of a quarter is 1/8. 1/8 of the children just went straight to the worksheet. If 40 children got their work correct, that means the total is 40. How many children watched the whole video? In this instance, I'm asked for how many, so I need to find a fraction of an amount. Watch the whole video I know is 3/4, so I'm looking for 3/4 of 40. 40 divided by 4 is 10, times 3 is 30. How many children who watched half the video got all their answers correct? I know half the video is 1/8, so I'm looking for 1/8 of 40 because it says how many children, not what fraction. 40 divided by 8 is equal to 5. Well done if you did those do now questions, and I don't know if you can tell yet, but I'd quite like you to watch the whole video. Let's get started then. Today we're comparing 2 different pie charts to each other. You can see here you have the lunch order from Key Stage 1, and here you have the lunch order from Key Stage 2. It's split into baked potato, which is blue, vegetable lasagna, which is orange, beef lasagna, which is grey, and salad, which is yellow. The first questions I'm going to look at are some true or false questions. At the moment, we're not going to be looking at the values of them, just the fractions. So, beef lasagna was more popular in Key Stage 2, that's this one, than Key Stage 1. I need to look at beef lasagna, that's the grey colour. Is beef lasagna more popular in Key Stage 2 than Key Stage 1? I can see in Key Stage 1 it's exactly 1/2, and I can see in Key Stage 2 1/2 would take me to there. That means this is more than 1/2, that is true. Vegetarian lasagna was equally popular in Key Stage 1 as it was in Key Stage 2. Vegetarian lasagna is that orange colour there. Is that section the same in Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2? Yes, just because it's at a different angle doesn't mean it's a different fraction. This amount looks the same. That is true. Salad was the least popular in both year groups. Okay, salad is yellow here. Yes, it's the least popular. Salad is yellow here. Yes, that's the least popular. In fact, all three of these questions were true. I'd like you to pause the video now and have a go at solving these questions. This data is about the different types of dog that were at the park on Monday and on Tuesday. You've got 3 true or false questions to have a go at. Question 1. The number of Border Collies halved from Monday to Tuesday. Okay, Border Collies is light blue. Here's Monday, here's Tuesday. Can I say that that fraction of an amount has halved? Yes, it certainly looks like it's halved. That is true. Labradors made up 50% of the dogs on both days. Labrador is orange. This is 1/2. The circle is split into half by its diameter, and also here as well. So that is true too. Pugs were the second most common dog on both days. Pugs are grey, so let's have a look on Tuesday. Orange is the most popular, grey is the second most popular. Yes, they're the second most. Let's have a look on Monday though. Orange is most popular, but you can see the second most popular is shared between 3 different dogs. So this is actually false. Right, what I'd like you to do now is to pause the video and have a go at the first 5 questions from your worksheet. The questions can be seen on this video, or if you've printed out the worksheet already, you can do them there. If you're doing it from the video, please just write on your worksheet, on your piece of paper, question 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Question 1, if you think it's true, write true. If you think it's false, write false. If you want to challenge yourself, have a go at these 3 extra questions here at the bottom. So pause the video and try these questions either on your worksheet if you've printed it out, but remember, you don't need to print anything out for this lesson. You can just solve these questions on your piece of paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, the first question said year 6 like milk more than year 5. Milk is orange. This is milk in year 6 and this is milk in year 5. Yes, that is true. Twice as many people in year 5 preferred Coca-Cola than year 6. I can see Coca-Cola is grey. In year 5 that's half, in year 6 that's a quarter. Twice as many people in year 5, yes, double 1/4 would be a half. The same percentage of people likes water in both year groups. Water is light blue in both year groups. Looking at both year groups, can we see that section being exactly the same? It's actually slightly smaller in year 5, so that is false. Orange juice was more popular than apple juice in both year groups. Orange juice is dark blue and apple juice is yellow. Well, straight away I can see they were equally as popular in year 6, so no, that's false. Apple juice was the least popular in each year group. In each year group, apple juice is the yellowy colour. Is that the least popular in each year group? It's certainly the least popular in year 5, but in year 6 you can see that's shared between apple juice, water and orange juice. So that one is false. Okay, let's look at these challenge questions. If you didn't do these challenge questions, I really recommend you have a go at pushing yourself. You can just pause the video now and have a go at them if you like. If 12 people chose Coca-Cola in year 6, how many people are there altogether? Let's go to year 6 and let's go to Coca-Cola. That's 12. That tells me 1/4 of the pie is equal to 12. If 1/4 is 12, the whole must be 4 lots of 12, which is 48. If 4 people chose apple juice in year 5, estimate how many people were surveyed. Let's go to apple juice in year 5 and let's fill that in as 4 people. You need to think to yourself what fraction apple juice represents. This is a quarter, this would be an 1/8, this would be a 16th, perhaps even a 32th. You should really have looked at something between 4 times 16 or 4 times 32. Okay, there will be a wide range of answers possible for that one. It's not one correct answer because it says estimate. And finally, 32 people were surveyed in year 6. How many people chose each drink? So we go over to year 6 and we're looking at 32 people. Coca-Cola is a quarter. So 1/4 of 32 is 32 divided by 4, that's 8. I can see then that this fraction here is 1/8, another 8, and another 8. 32 divided by 8 is 4, 4, and 4. Finally, my last fraction, I can solve this so many different ways, but I think the way I'm going to show you is like that. This is a quarter, that's 8. This is an 1/8, that's 4. Add it together, and that would be 12. Okay, we're going to move on. Well done if you've gone through those questions. Right. These are the main questions we're going to look at today, though. Okay, in these questions, you can see we're looking for fractions of amounts between the two pie charts. It's essential during these questions that you find the fraction of the amount of both pie charts. So let's have a look. Steve says more children in year 5 said they enjoyed reading than in year 6. The thing that you must pay attention of is in year 6 there are 80 children in total, and in year 5 there are just 75 children. That means the pie is worth different amounts, and so I cannot just judge it based on whether it's a quarter and a half. I need to know what a quarter of 80 is and what a half of 75 is. To prove that point, if you're not sure what I mean, if I asked you, what's a bigger fraction, 1/2 or 1/4? Would you rather have a half of a cake or a quarter of a cake? You'd tell me that a half is bigger. But what if I changed my question and I said, what's bigger, half of 12 or a quarter of 1,000? Suddenly, you can see that although, yes, a half is bigger than a quarter, if the total value is different, then it's a completely different question. And that's really what we're looking at with these pie charts. The total value is different, therefore, it doesn't really matter what the fraction is. All that matters is what that fraction of the amount is. So, Steve says more children in year 5 said they enjoyed reading than in year 6. Is he correct? Right, first let's work out how many children enjoyed reading in year 6. I can see reading is here, and it's half of a quarter, and I know half of a quarter is 1/8. So 1/8 of 80 children enjoyed reading. 1/8 of 80. That is equal to 10. Okay, let's check out how many children enjoyed reading in year 5. Reading is orange here, and I can see these sections are all equal, which means I'm dealing with 1/5. I'm looking for 1/5 of 75. Not 1/5, but I'm looking for 1/5 of 75. 5s into 7 fit 1, regroup 2, 5s into 25 will fit 5 times, that's 15. Okay, so Steve says more children in year 5 said they enjoyed reading than year 6. Steve is correct, yes, not because 1/5 is bigger than 1/8, but because 1/5 of 75 is bigger than 1/8 of 80. When you're solving these questions, if you're told the number of people in total, you are expected to find that fraction of the amount. Remember, 1/2 is bigger than 1/4, but a half of 12 is much, much smaller than a quarter of 1,000. I'd like you to have a go at this question now. It says, how many more children in year 6 prefer history than in year 5? There'll be 3 steps to this. First, how many children like history in year 6? Second, how many children like history in year 5? Thirdly, how many more? And we know that means to subtract. Pause the video now and try this question. Okay, in year 6, history is 1/2, but I'm not looking for 1/2, I'm looking for 1/2 of 80. Half of 80 is equal to 40. In year 5, I can see history is 1/5, but remember, I'm not looking for 1/5, I'm looking for 1/5 of 75, which I know is 15. How many more children in year 6 prefer history? Now I need to finish off my equation by doing 40 subtract 15. I know that will be equal to 25. Very well done if you got that question. If you didn't get the question, please watch again how I showed you how to do it, and it will really help you with the next one. Right. In this question, you can see that some of our sections of the pie have percentages. That means it's not accurate enough to the nearest quarter or the nearest half, and so they've put percentages on so we can work them out. Right, this says how many more children said they got the bus to school at Franklin than Atwood. So again, I'll have those same 3 steps. I'm just going to move the question over here so I've got space. How many more children said they got the bus to school at Atwood than Franklin? First, I'll need to know how many children got the bus to school at Franklin. Then I'll need to know how many children got the bus to school at Atwood. Then I'll need to find out how many more. I think you should pause the video and try and solve this question now. Well done if you're taking every single opportunity to learn. If you're not pausing the video when I suggest and trying out those questions, you probably will find it quite difficult when you're doing your independent work later. It's important to have a go at something that I've just showed you something similar so that you can embed that learning and make sure you really understand it. So let's go through this question now. How many children said they got the bus to school at Franklin? I can see the bus is here. I'm looking for 10% of 600. I know 10% of 600 will be equal to 60. How about at Ark Atwood? I can see getting the bus to school was 12%. So I'm looking for 12% of 400. 10% is 40. 1% will be 4. 2% would be 8. So 12% is going to be 48. Now I want to know how many more. Remember, that's your final step, which is going to be subtracting. 60 subtract 48. The final answer that you get then should be equal to 12. Hopefully you can see how I had to first find 10% of 600, 12% of 400, before I could find out how many more. I'd like you to pause the video and have a go at this question, but first I'll quickly read it to you. Ian says more children cycled from Atwood than Franklin. Explain why he's wrong. More children cycled from Atwood than Franklin. Looking at this here, I can see 23% went on bicycle and 29% went on 23% went on the bicycle at Atwood and 29% went on the bicycle at Franklin. If your first thought, firstly, sorry, I've just realised there's a mistake in this question. Firstly, he's not wrong, okay? There was a mistake in this question and it was meant to be got in the car. So please pretend you did not hear that question and let's try it again. Ian says more children drove from Atwood than Franklin. Explain why he's wrong. So Ian says more children drove from Atwood than Franklin. Explain why he's wrong. At Atwood, 55% drove and at Franklin, 30% drove. So you might be thinking, wait a minute, 55% is greater than 30%. If you're thinking that, please remember what we said earlier. It's not about what the fraction or the percentage is, but unless you take into consideration the whole you're starting with. So what you're going to have to do now is work out what 30% of 600 is and what 55% of 400 is. Quickly work that out now. Okay, 10% of 600 is equal to 60. So 30% will be timesing that by 3, 180. Over here, looking for 55% of 400. 50% is 200. 5% would be 20. 200 add 20 is 220. Okay, you can also see he is not wrong. He is correct. I'm really sorry about this question. I think something's gone wrong and I'm not going to start the video again because it's quite a long way in. So please, hopefully you still were able to find out what 30% of 600 was and what 55% of 400 was. I know that's got a bit confusing. I'm really sorry. What we're going to do is I'm going to quickly rewrite a new question here. How many more people walked to school from Franklin than from Atwood? This is the new question that you're going to have a go at. In a moment, you're going to pause the video and have a go at solving this question before you move on to your independent work. So how many more people? Again, we know that's going to be a subtraction. How many more people? First, work out how many people walked from Franklin, then find out how many people walked from Atwood, and then do your subtraction. Pause the video and have a go now. Okay, so I can see from Atwood, I'm looking for 10% of 400. 10% of 400 is equal to 40. From Franklin, I'm looking for 31% of 600. Okay, I could start by finding 30%. 10% is 600, 30% then, 60, 30% will be 180. Then add 1% on, 1% is 6. Therefore, I'm looking for 186. So I found how many people walked from Atwood, how many people walked from Franklin. Now I need to subtract in order to find how many more. 186 subtract 40 will be 146. Okay, it's now time for you to have a go at the rest of your independent questions. Remember, all you need to do for these questions is find out how many from the first one, 1/2 of 28 or 1/4 of 43, and how many from the second one. Please pay attention to the different totals. That's the only thing that's difficult about these questions. Just because it's 1/4 doesn't mean that's necessarily bigger or smaller than 1/2. It depends on what the totals are. So I'd like everyone to have a go at these questions, and everyone needs to have a go at the reasoning. If you're feeling really confident after completing those questions, there's some incredibly hard reasoning here. I've given you a tip for that question, and that's if you want to do this one, you're going to have to do it methodically, and you're going to have to start from the third pie chart. Use the information from the third pie chart to work out information from the second pie chart, and then you'll be able to go all the way back to the first pie chart to answer question 1. That final question is very, very tricky, but have a go if you feel confident enough. I'd like you now to pause the video to try those questions, but don't forget I'm going to go through the answers in a moment, and it's essential that you mark your own work. And also, if you found the work difficult, it's really helpful to have someone explaining how you could have solved those questions. So don't forget to continue watching the video once you've finished your work. Okay, so I'm about to go through the answers. Please make sure you are not still watching the video if you haven't done your independent work. It's essential to complete your work at home, so please go away and finish your independent work before you come back and watch the video. We've actually gone through these questions at the beginning, so we don't need to go through them again, and we'll look at the next set of questions. Okay, which team won the most matches? Team 1 won 3/4 of their matches. We're looking for 3/4 of 24. 24 divided by 4 is 6, times 3 is 18. Team 2 won 1/2 of their matches, but they won 1/2 of 28. 1/2 of 28 is 14. So Team 1 won the most matches. The next part of the question said by how many? What's the difference? By 4. How many more matches did Team 2 lose than Team 1? Again, find out how many team matches Team 1, then Team 2, then subtract. Team 1 lost 1/4 of 24. 1/4 of 24 is equal to 6. Team 2 lost 1/4 of 28. 1/4 of 28 is 7. How many more matches did they lose? 1 more. Let's look at the next group of questions then with the next set of pie charts. How many children in Foxton walk to school? Walking here in Foxton, out of 80 children, 1/2 of 80 is 40. At Midtown, 1/3 of the children travelled by car. How many children travelled by car? 1/3 of the children. I'm looking for 1/3 of 240. 240 divided by 3. I'm going to use the bust up method if I'm not 100% confident. Or I can use my known facts and know that 3 times 8 is 24, so 3 times 80 is 240. Question 5 then, how many more children from Midtown walk to school than Foxwood? First work out how many children from Midtown walk to school, that's 1/2 of 80, which is 40. Then how many walk to school from Midtown, that's 1/4 of 240. 1/4 of 240 is 60. 60 take away 40 is 20. Your final answer for this question was 20. Okay, time for your secret instruction of the day. Well done if you're still watching the video. Please don't tell anyone else about this secret instruction so we can see who has been a conscientious learner and is still watching the video. I'm going to reveal your secret instruction for the day. Today, please can you draw a picture of a carrot next to question 9? Please can you draw a picture of a carrot next to question 9? If you're not sure how to draw a carrot, you can start off with a sort of triangular shape, and then you need some leaves coming out of the top, and then maybe some wrinkles to show it's a carrot. Draw a carrot next to where you've answered question 9. That is today's secret instruction to show me which children are watching the whole video. Okay, next set of questions then. What's the total number of insects collected by both children? These children have 80 and these have 36. 80 add 36 is equal to 116. 116 insects in total. What percentage of Tony's insects are snails? Well, let's look at Tony's then. Tony is here. Here are snails. What percentage are snails? That's a quarter, 25%. How many snails did Gemma collect? Half of the animals she collected were snails. We're looking for half of 36, which is equal to 18. Estimate how many worms Gemma collected. It says estimate because it's not an exact fraction. It looks a little bit like 1/4, but it's ever so slightly more. I'd start off by thinking, okay, 1/4 of 80 is equal to 20, and then it's a little bit more, so maybe 22. I will accept anything between 21 and 25. If you said 20 though, you didn't pay attention enough. It's not 1/4, it's a little bit more. Okay, next questions. The reasoning question here. Amanda says that more girls liked fish and chips because there were more girls surveyed. Explain why she is incorrect. She says more girls like fish and chips because there were more girls surveyed. Well, let's work out actually what the answer is and why. 1/4 of children liked fish and 1/4 of girls like fish and chips, and there were 200 girls. 1/4 of 200 is equal to 50. Okay, 3/4 of the boys liked fish and chips. 3/4 of 100 is 75. She's incorrect because 1/4 of 200 is equal to 50, but 3/4 of 100 is equal to 75. Just because more girls were surveyed doesn't necessarily mean more girls liked fish and chips. Remember, all you need to do is find each fraction of the amount when you're looking at two different pie charts. It's no use trying to compare 1/4 and 3/4 of different amounts. Find out what that value is and then you can compare them. Okay, if you had a go at these questions, we can go through them now. If you didn't do these questions, you can finish watching the video because really I'm just going to be going through these incredibly hard questions. But you may as well continue watching it if you want to, because you might learn something for next time. It says there was a survey of children at Ark Franklin. 32 boys had brown hair and blue eyes. So you can see here's the total. There's some children in the class and they're split into girls and boys. And then of the boys, they either have black hair, brown hair or blonde hair. And then of the boys with brown hair, they either have brown eyes, green eyes or blue eyes. I want to know, I know that 32 boys had brown hair and blue eyes. That means this section here is 32. I'm being asked how many children were surveyed in total. I told you to use the information from 3 to get to 2 and from 2 to get to 3, and I'm going to show you what I meant there. I know 32 people were boys with brown hair. That means this whole pie chart will be 32 times 4. 32 times 4 will be equal to 128. All of these people are 128 people, and all of these people are the children with brown hair. That tells me this part here is 128. If you didn't know this, but if you didn't do this before, or you didn't get it before, now that I've shown you that first step, see if you can finish it off. Okay, for those of you who still want to see the answer then, now I need to know how many children is this in total. 1/3 is 128, so I'll do 128 times 3. Okay, 3 times 8 is equal to 24, 3 times 2 is 6, add 2 is 8, and 3 times 1 is 3. So all of these people are 384, and those are the hair colours of the boys. That tells me that this section here is 384. So if I want to know how many children were surveyed in total, I would now have to do the boys times by 2 to get my total number. 768 people were surveyed in total. Okay, now I know then that the total is 768 people. I'm being asked now how many boys had brown hair and brown eyes. How many boys had brown hair and brown eyes? I'm now wishing I hadn't rubbed out my answers because I wish I knew how many people had brown hair. I need to quickly work out 768 divided by 3. That is going to be I'm just going to use the bus stop method. 768 divided by 3. 3 into 7 is 2, regroup 1. This is going to be 5, regroup 1. This is going to be 6. So this is 256. And now I'm splitting that between 3 to find this value here. 256 divided. Sorry, everybody. It's quite late on Friday afternoon and I'm making lots of silly errors. I'd like to apologise. I'm going to go back. Okay. How many boys had brown hair and brown eyes? Much simpler way of solving this one. I don't know why I bothered with any of that. If I know 32 people had brown hair and blue eyes, I just need to double 32 to find brown. 32 times 2 is equal to 64. If a quarter is blue, then double that, a half is 64. Sorry. And finally, question 3. Approximately 35% of the girls had blonde hair. How many girls were there with blonde hair? 35% of 384 is what you're doing here. 384 times by 35. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 8 is 40. Add the 2 is 48. 5 times 3 is 15. Add 4 is 19. 0, 12. 3 times 8 is 24, add 1 is 25, 3 times 3 is 9, add the 2 together, that's 11, add that all up, and now put in your decimal point. Okay, how many girls were there with blonde hair? I can't have 134.4 girls, it's at approximately 35%, so I just need to round that. I'm going to just round it down to 134. Okay, right, I know I got a bit muddled there in that last couple of questions, but well done if you had to go at these challenge questions. They are really tough and it's wonderful to see people pushing themselves. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're already still watching it all the way to the end, well done. Make sure you draw your carrot next to question 9 and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.